Coloradans are trying to figure out what to buy now before President-elect Donald Trump's promised tariffs raise prices. But you can only stock up on so much Mexican beer at once. Pour yourself a drink while Jaleesa Arizari looks at the impact.
Hey, how's it going today?
A hectic liquor store around the holidays can be a sobering experience. But it's what may happen come January that might drive Matthew Amerson to drink.
It might drive you to drink, or drink more.
Amerson owns Mayfair Liquors, and he'd like to keep it that way. But President-elect Trump's threat of a 25% tariff from Mexico and Canada may put that at risk. Trump says it will be one of the first things he will do unless the two countries start to secure their borders. Experts believe tequila and Mexican beers will get a lot more expensive.
It's a scary situation. We don't have the capacity to absorb price increases and not pass them along to customers. Let's hope that it's just a negotiating tactic. It's not reality.
I'm not really convinced that this will actually happen.
Kishore Kulkarni, a MSU Denver economics professor, is calling President Trump's bluff. To put it lightly, he doesn't think it's a smart move.
Of course it's not a good idea. It's BOB, that's what I say to my students. BOB means bunch of baloney.
Professor Kulkarni says Mexico, Canada, and China make up about 46% of our total imports. So major tariffs would not only impact some alcohol, but raw materials used for production, car parts, electronics, and some fruits and vegetables.
Economically, there is just no benefit in that. The loss to the consumers is overwhelmingly higher.
It's not desirable.
Amerson says he's already stocking up to keep the prices down.
You need a bag for this?
I don't.
He just hopes he'll be able to let it stay that way.
We're not down for the count, but we'll see what happens.
Enjoy this day. It's beautiful outside. How's it going today?
Professor Kulkarni says if these tariffs take effect, the major winners here are domestic producers, anything made in America, as well as the government, of course, because they will collect the revenue. His biggest concern is that this will start an eye for an eye, and countries will retaliate with their own tariffs. And I believe Mexico has already hinted at that. So.
Yeah, so then you've got, let's just keep it in the beer, wine, and spirits world. Then you've got American makers, like in Colorado, of say, craft beer. They want to export, then they get hit with a tariff. That hurts their business. So, I mean, all this could just be bluster by Trump, right? This could just be a game that he's playing, but they have to prepare like it's actually going to happen, that it could go through Congress.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Congress has to make that decision, right? But Kulkarni thinks that some of the Republicans can actually flip on this. He believes that this is something that isn't like foolproof, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of opinions when it comes to tariffs because they know it will hurt a lot of people. All
right, we'll be watching. Jaleesa Arizari, thank you. Colorado's governor is trying to get billionaire Elon Musk to notice him and his ideas. Democratic Governor Polis is not alone in that. Lots of people are pitching ways for the incoming Trump administration to slash government spending. That's Musk's pet project. Musk says that he can cut a third of the federal budget, which will be difficult given that Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security make up almost 2/3 of the budget. Governor Polis recently tagged Musk in a social media post calling for the elimination of the penny and replacing the dollar bill with a dollar coin. Now, the U.S. Mint doesn't cost the government money. It makes money for the government. But any savings there could be passed along to lower the federal debt. Undeterred by not getting noticed by the world's richest man, Polis tried again, pitching an idea to reduce spending by outsourcing wild horse management to the states. Musk didn't notice that either, apparently. This week on social media, Musk's newly created department, which is not actually a government department, targeted a project in Colorado as a symbol of government overreach. The Gross Reservoir expansion was on the list of projects, quote, hampered by bureaucracy and overregulation. Denver Water started that dam expansion in 2022, 2 decades after it was first proposed. The project could be held up again as a judge ruled in the fall that the permitting process didn't do enough to look at less environmentally harmful options. The closest state legislative race in Colorado has now been decided, and Republicans are dropping their claims of election rigging because they won. The House race in Colorado Springs was initially decided by 6 votes, dropped to just 3 in a recount. Politics guy Marshall Zellinger shows us how any vote changes during a recount.
Sometimes a voter's intent is just not clear. Is this circle outside of the bubble meant to be a vote? Or is this filled-in bubble with a crossed-out line meant to be no vote? These ballots were just reviewed in the recount of State House District 16 in Colorado Springs.
If the voting system struggles to tell voter intent, then it sets those ballots aside for a bipartisan team to go and review to see if they can determine which candidate the voter was trying to vote for.
Matt Crane is the director of the County Clerks Association. He went over El Paso County's recount results with us. Before the recount, Republican challenger Rebecca Kelty defeated Democratic State Representative Stephanie Vigil by 6 votes. At one point, the recount showed the race as a tie. These crossed-out votes that were not counted for Vigil originally were briefly counted during the recount, until human reviewers got involved. A canvass board made up of a Democrat, a Republican, and the county clerk, who was also a Republican, made the same determination that was made prior to the recount, that these 3 votes should not count.
They found these 3 ballots that the system had accepted, but when they looked at it, the voters very clearly drew a line through the name. And according to the voter intent guide here in Colorado, the canvass board used that, and they determined that the voter was in fact saying that they didn't want to make that selection. And so that's what they all 3 unanimously decided.
There were 3 votes, however, that did get credited to Vigil during the recount that were not counted the first time around. This bubble outside the circle and this X just on the edge of the circle. Because the bubbles were not filled in, they were seen as undervotes. And during an election, voting machines do not flag humans if it appears a race was not voted.
An undervote isn't recognized the first time, so it's not examined by the bipartisan team. Where in a recount, it will be.
In the end, Vigil earned 3 more votes, but Kelty still won by 3. For Next, I'm Marshall Zellinger.
We reached out to Representative-elect Kelty to ask how she squares her previous concern over election integrity with her quick acceptance of her 3-vote win in this race. We did not hear back from her. It's been months since a judge ended the mutiny in the Colorado GOP and crowned Dave Williams as the rightful state party chair. But Williams isn't satisfied. He wants the state appeals court to reinforce his power and make it harder for critics to remove him or other party leaders in the future. Williams is appealing an Arapahoe County court ruling that the judicial system can't intervene in the party's drama. In August, the court said it didn't have the power to stop a meeting called by Williams' critics, who held a vote of the GOP State Central Committee to remove Williams and put in new leaders. After a few weeks of confusion, 2 party chairs, another judge stepped in and said that it was Williams' job. Now he's asking Colorado's appeals court to limit the power of the party's Central Committee, about 400 people, and to reinforce the power of the chair and a small executive committee to make decisions. Williams said Williams and his allies have already passed some new party bylaws that would make it harder for party members to remove party leaders. Those go into effect early next year. Meanwhile, other leaders within the Colorado Republican Party are threatening to sue a school district in southwest Colorado over allowing Black Lives Matter and pride flags in classrooms. It's been a wild few months down in Durango. In October, the school district told employees that they could not display Black Lives Matter flags or the Progress Pride flag, updated version of the pride flag that honors the trans community and communities of color. Then 2 weeks later, they reversed it. The school board voted to lift the ban. And now that board's drafting a resolution to reinforce that, to specifically allow both those flags to be displayed in school as protected speech in line with the district's policies. The Colorado Republican Party's vice president spoke at a recent school board meeting, called the flags, quote unquote, government-sanctioned discrimination. Another party officer wrote a letter to the board saying they'll sue once Trump is in office. Similar lawsuit already made its way to court in Denver, where a district court judge ruled that schools do have the right to display pride flags. Well, tonight we have tremendous news for all of the angry viewers who have written in saying that they will never watch Next again. You can now listen to Next as a podcast. Find us wherever you find podcasts. If there's ever a night that you can't catch us live at 6 o'clock or streaming on 9 News Plus at the same time, you can listen to Next later via podcast. New episode will be posted each evening. Monday is the start of a special project on the south side of the metro area to bring a brighter holiday to some seniors who otherwise might be alone. That's why this week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports Nourish Meals on Wheels. That nonprofit has created a 12 Days of Giving program. For 12 weekdays ahead of Christmas, the people they serve in our community get a small gift along with the healthy meals that they receive throughout the year. Now, you might not think that's all that much, but they hear back that sometimes these are the only holiday gifts that these folks will see. The nonprofit makes sure that people feel seen and cared for throughout the year, but especially during the holidays, a time that can be tough for some people. They reach Coloradans on the south side of the metro, so we're talking Douglas County, Jefferson counties, parts of Arapahoe and Denver. Nourish Meals on Wheels works to line up community sponsors to cover the cost of each of their 12 days of giving. Their gift deliveries start next week. Going into this, they had 3 of the 12 days covered. I was so confident in your generosity that I got on the phone with them and said, next viewers will cover the rest. You're good. Please don't make a liar of me. I chipped in too. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to donate. And more than 3,700 of you have signed up to simplify your giving by making a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. That has allowed us to start your recent micro-giving campaigns with $25,000 in donations each week. You can use that same QR code or text to get there. Well, it's a fitting end to Colorado's unhappiest workplace drama. A DougCo commissioner quits rather than having to deal with the fellow commissioners who despise her.
Good news is I just got engaged recently.
And this week's good news counts doubly good because it involves Coloradans feeling good about doing good for others. An update tonight from Colorado's most toxic workplace. They only have 3 employees, but man, they can't stand each other. And since they're all paid with taxpayer dollars, their drama is the public's business. Today, DougCo Commissioner Laura Thomas up and quit with just weeks left in her term. She called a news conference to announce her departure this morning, claims she's being forced out by her fellow Republican commissioners Abe Layden and George Teal. Thomas says the final straw came last week when Layden and Teal allegedly told county staff to move her stuff out of her office so that her replacement, who doesn't get sworn in until January, could take the office. Those 3 have fought like cats and dogs, but with sharper claws for years. Teal and Layden voted to remove Thomas as board chair in 2022. They've censured her twice. They've also ordered unsuccessful investigations into her conduct. She always rants about them in her weekly newsletters. It's ugly, and now it's over. In a statement after Thomas's resignation, Commissioner Layden said the decision to move her out of her office was part of a normal transition process. He said he looks forward to, quote, peace, positivity, and collaboration. So if I had a nickel for every time a bridge over Blue Mesa Reservoir had to shut down because of cracks in the steel this year, I would have 2 nickels, which is not a lot of money, but it is a lot of inconvenience for people who live in that area. Thankfully, the second closed bridge reopened today. CDOT says the US 50 Lake Fork Bridge over the reservoir opened to 2-way traffic this afternoon. It is just one of 2 bridges statewide with a specific kind of steel that inspectors say is especially brittle. Not great for bridges, right? The other one is 5 miles east. When that thing shut down, there were major detours from April onward. Transportation workers partially closed the Lake Fork Bridge shortly after the first one. It took 915 steel plates and 20,000 bolts to get that thing back open again. Corey Reppenhagen, what are the odds 2 bridges in the whole state have the same faulty steel and they're both on the one way to get through central Colorado to the western slope?
Something's fishy there, Kyle, and I don't know the answer to that, but it's been difficult to work out there because Gunnison County has been consistently the coldest place in the United States for the last 6 days. Because they've had a terrible temperature inversion, we're going with the forecast high temperature of 24 degrees for tomorrow in Gunnison. So that is the warmest temperature they've had in like 6 days. Here in Denver, though, 61 degrees tomorrow. That's well above our average high temperature of 45 degrees. That's good news for the 9 News Parade of Lights, one of the warmer events we've had in a while here. 52 degrees when it starts there, generally in the 40s though. So of course you'll need a jacket and a hat and probably gloves. But we're gonna come close to 60 again on Sunday. And it all depends on the timing of this cold front on Sunday afternoon. If it comes in after 3 o'clock, we'll we could hit 60 degrees again on Sunday, and then we'll start to cool things off, get some snow going in the high country there overnight into Monday morning. Not looking like a big storm, and honestly, this storm is trending weaker and weaker and weaker every time we run a model run on this. That includes the high country and the front range here. But in the afternoon is the best chance to get widespread snow showers going. That would be between noon and about 6 p.m. on Monday. And really, it honestly starting to look like we could have a good old nada burger here in the Denver metro area. But I'd still expect to see some scattered snow showers here in the area. But accumulating snow does not look like a high probability at this point. We'll keep an eye on it. And then you see the rest of the week looking pretty decent.
My good news is that it's my dad's birthday this weekend, so we're taking the time to celebrate as a family.
Like every week, we will end on a high note, setting aside the news to focus on the headlines of your lives. That's next. What are you staring at? Ever seen a tree walk down the street before? Small group of volunteers gathered at Denver Community Church today on a big mission to make sure our neighbors stay warm this winter. We went there to ask our favorite Friday question: what's your good news?
The good news that I can share is just a place of healing that Denver Community Church has provided for me. And I want to provide that healing for others that have been living on the street, who have been told no, that they are welcome and they are allowed to have healing as well. And so that's why we're opening the doors of the church to say, come in, come join us, come get a hot meal, come get clothed, come get fed. And that's our good news.
I would say the vibe is exciting.
I think it feels great. I mean, it's wonderful to be able to find a volunteer opportunity, and I wanted to support my cousin Brian.
Welcome, anybody, all who are weary.
We gave away 10 free apartments to Denver public school teachers at our building at Skyline at Highlands.
My good news is my brother just got married and my new in-laws are amazing.
My good news is that my good friend battling pancreatic cancer just found out that his tumors have shrunk by half.
Can I change it? So I got a dog. I got a dog, and he's just the sweetest little thing.
I love coming out here and doing this with everybody. It's a great time to get together and really give back to everything. Good news is I just got engaged recently. I'm very excited about that. My good news is that it's my dad's birthday this weekend, so we're taking the time to celebrate as a family and take him out.
My good news is going home to see my family for Christmas. I haven't been home in 2 years, so I'm really looking forward to that piece here next week.
We decided to take our Friday off and come here and give back. So we have, I don't know, looks like about 7 of us here. So just here sorting coats, giving back to people. It's pretty fun.
So you're the boss and nobody's working today, is that right?
That is accurate. Both those things are true.
Tomorrow afternoon, Denver Community Church is going to open its doors to anybody who wants a hot meal and a warm coat. We are back here with your feedback next. Thank you. Chuck in Glenwood Springs noted that Corey Reppenhaken referred to a coming storm as a nada burger. Chuck says, is that one of those technical weather terms? Chuck, I'm no weatherologist, but I'm pretty sure that a nada burger is like a nothing burger, but possibly with even less burger. Jim and Millie both wrote in asking if there will be a new Next holiday ornament this season. There will be a 5th installment of the Next holiday ornament. It will be available on Monday. We will unveil it on the show then. And Aiden in Arvada says, every Friday, I wonder what's Kyle's good news. That is so kind of you to ask. My good news is that I work with people who make me laugh and think, and I'm headed into the weekend to hang out with my girls.